Welcome back to Pokemon Platinum. We're mostly going to be traveling this part because you just beat a gym, so that means lots of routes.
Wow,
Oh boy.
okay. These, really hat-heavy character designs, the more I stare at them in bobblehead style, they really do not work in bobblehead style. What were they thinking?
They're trying to match the look of the classic sprites.
I know,
Is what they're
but
doing.
with these character designs, what that winds up looking like is, okay, you're playing as the female trainer whose design looks pretty alright when you're just seeing her anime design that's fully proportioned and all, but right now she just looks like I don't know, a waitress with a big ass headscarf or something from the Middle Ages. And I can't tell what she's wearing below the neck. She's wearing something, but it could be just an apron for all I know.
So Looker, are you gonna help? Are you gonna?
Nope, I'm just going to stand there.
Okay, you're the police agent. I, the 10-year-old, shall take care of this terrorist organization. Yeah.
That's it. That's how it goes in the world.
Well-
You technically don't need to fight these people.
This is just for an item, right?
Items and experience, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a step up from being a 10-year-old fighting the mafia. I'll say that.
Well, Pokemon Gen 1, it's weird. Pokemon Gen 1 has a very kind of weird kind of tone to it because it's not... Team Rocket's just something you kind of do along the way.
Yeah,
is
they
the
just
big
sort of
thing.
they were trying to do things, and they just happened to get in your way on your way to get to the next gym, so you took them down.
Yeah, it's not like... It feels... It just kind of adds to the sense of it... Because Pokemon, I think, when it comes down to it, and what makes it have its appeal is the adventure. It's just like, okay, every kid... dreams about, okay, I'm going to go off to Hogwarts, or, in this case, I'm going to go on an adventure with my Pokemon and whatnot, And, just happening to find an evil mafia group and beat them up is, just part of that bigger adventure. I feel like it struggles a little bit more when they're trying to have the
Stories
teams
about
be...
those groups, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really so much trying to be like a you versus... When it's more of a you versus them kind of thing, and they're actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I thought the team in Black and White worked better because it meshed thematically with things. And that made up kind of for the weirdness of being a kid and having to deal with all that.
Yeah, well, Black and White also did a couple of other things, they aged up the characters too, where they look much more like they're 15, 16 as opposed to 12, which helps a lot. And there's also, again, they also did try to do something interesting with the story as well, whereas the story
is more important than the gym leader thing.
Yeah, whereas you're just kind of the gym leaders in that game are just the things you're doing along the way, as opposed to
the other way around.
Which I think was an interesting idea because in that game, the story was more interesting, so it was a good way to do it. The thing about this is that I just do not like Team Galactic as a villain force as well, because I feel like it's just a lot of... it's so hard to explain, but it feels like there's a lot of talk without a lot of substance, is the thing, because they're talking a lot about, nihilism and, oh, we're gonna bring the world to nothing or whatever, and it's just
okay, can I talk about that trope for a minute?
Yeah.
Alright, Japan seems to have, 3 tropes that they bring up a lot in their anime. One is, their fixation on how organized religion sucks and spirituality is good without it, which, I can sort of appreciate, but they always seem to bring it up in the same way every time. And then there's the trope where frustration and emotion has to be expressed, and if it's expressed it will make everyone feel things, which is every shonen pro tag ever who's not Goku. Goku's thing was just that he was stupid, but
anyway, pardon me grabbing this update. Now I'll fight you.
What was the other one? Oh yeah, nihilism. Okay, there's always a bad guy who just wants to end the world because the world sucks. And I'm like, dude, Suicide Forest is that way. Don't drag the rest of us down with you. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that the Pokemon universe is a utopia all things considered. Like,
Yeah,
this is
pretty
the
much.
It's just like, okay, free healthcare. All right, everybody's happy. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's
I
got
mean,
money to burn.
If you ignore
Everyone's got a house.
if you ignore that region from the GameCube games, it's basically
Nobody likes the Ori region.
I'm just saying, that place wasn't all that much of a utopia, but all the other regions we see.
Don't worry about it. They're libertarian.
But it's one of those things where it's a similar kind of problem I have with the Gen 6 bad guy, because it's just like, for such an extreme motivation for doing what you're supposed to be doing, you need to justify it, and they don't.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the trope is so well known that they feel they don't have to justify it, but it's more of a trope in Japan than it is here. Like, you see it a lot in anime, but very rarely in Western pop culture. And, there are some stories that do interesting things with it. Persona 3's entire plot is basically that.
I'll say Super Paper Mario as well does it better than this, at the very least. Super Paper Mario has a pacing and tell don't show problem, but the content is very intriguing. That's gonna be a weird game whenever we get to it.
And Persona 5 brings it up later on, even though it's not necessarily a focus throughout most of the plot, but it does wind up being an integral part of the final dungeon. Apart
is
from
it like
that,
directly a reference to the Persona 3 stuff, or
no,
is it just
it's just the same kind of philosophical idea. Basically, society sucks, and people secretly don't want to deal with it anymore, and that manifests as them wanting to kill themselves and/or imprison themselves in a dream or something.
Oh, that's very Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah,
because they're all like, oh, okay, yeah, humanity, you managed to beat back the angels and the demons, but you're humans. You're gonna fuck up again. It's what you do. Come on,
like
guys.
the final boss of Persona 3 is basically a psychic manifestation of society's collective desire to end it all, and your party ends up being the ones who beat that back because they're fighting for making society better instead of just giving up on it. That kind of thing. It can work when it works, but most of the time in anime and/or Japanese games, it's just some skeevy bad guy smirking at the camera and saying, "Suffering sucks. Wouldn't you want to stop suffering? Yeah, here, I'll just destroy everything so you don't have to suffer anymore. How about that?"
Oops.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you're back. Did you forget your car keys?
Car keys? I left them at Harvard Yard. Instead, we got a bike.
Oh, no, I think she gave us the egg.
All right, this is how you get a... No, it's not a Riolu.
Wow, did she
Riolu's so
seriously just pop in, give you an item, and then say, see you later?
Hey, do you want this baby? What? Okay, have fun with motherhood. Bye!
I'm like a 12, 13-year-old girl.
You know what? It's fine. Just
I'm sure
stuff
no
that
one will
egg in your
ask any
pants.
questions.
Stuff that egg in your pants and rub it like a good girl.
What?
I forget what they give you an egg in basically every game, right? It's
I think they stopped after this one. And yeah, register the bike.
yeah. Oh god, the bike's so slow in this. Oh wait,
no, it is the gears.
Oh, I forgot that it had the gear system.
Because they wanted to keep the acro and the speed bike, but they realized that having to come back and switch bikes all the time was stupid. So
yeah, that's not a bad idea.
So there's a really funny thing with the Gen 4 engine. So basically how it works is it loads up the game in chunks. So once you pass a certain line on the map, it will load up like the square that's not the one that you're seeing, but like the one after it, pretty much. So, okay, pretty standard. The bike breaks it because it goes so fast that if you know where the load line is and you like zigzag back and forth across it, the game gets confused and doesn't know what to load. So you can do that, and then you see the void in the background, and it's empty. And if you ride around there in the certain ways,
Cyrus, I found your void.
you can break the game and do things like find the special event rooms that you were only supposed to be able to get into if you went to like specific Pokemon trading card events or something like that, and get it so you can get the event only Pokemon in this game. Like,
Man, I forgot they used to do that stuff in the age before online events.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things that kind of had a charm to it. Like, I really liked what they did with the Eon ticket in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, because in the original Ruby and Sapphire, the Eon ticket was basically an item that let you get, I think it was Latios or Latios, whichever one wasn't in your version of the game. But it was one of those items that they only gave out at those very specific events, and if you didn't have a Toys R Us within 50 miles of you, sucks to be you.
Yeah, wasn't that at a time when Toys R Us was kind of on the way out?
Well, no, not really.
Well, in the early 2000s, but...
Well, I was really lucky because back when they had the Celebi one, that was like a Six Flags thing.
Yeah.
For Gen 2. But I was lucky because my dad worked like one exit down from the Six Flags of Georgia at the time. So I'm like, as him, it's like, okay, during one weekday when, it's a weekday, no one's around, just like stop at the Six Flags, shove the game card in, and then, bring it home, and he did it for me.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah, but in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, they took the item from the original Game Boy Advance game, and they made it so that you transfer it, you can give a copy of it to people that you interact through Street Pass, which I thought was actually a really cool idea, because it allows more people to run into it while still feeling like a special kind of out-of-game but in-game kind of event that Pokemon sort of is known for, because it's much more convenient to just get the Pokemon downloaded every couple of months online, and so it's nice to have it, but it also makes it feel less special as well. So, I mean, I think they might be able to find a third option that makes it still feel special, but also not require you to just, leave things up to chance or meet people on Craigslist for Pokemon, But we'll see. But I liked what they did with the
Did people actually do that?
I'm sure they probably did, It's just like, because people will do that for like Pokemon Go. It's just like, I need such and such Pokemon. Will you meet me and trade me? And there are like Reddit friends.
Well, it's stupid because for some reason Pokemon Go doesn't let you trade online.
It's like only if you're super duper best friends, if I remember.
No,
correctly.
not even non-best friends can't do it.
Wow. Okay, that's
it's really, really stupid.
Yeah.
And they make you have quest lines where you need to trade Pokemon. It's like, well, okay, how am I supposed to do that if you won't let me trade with my friends?
Find real life friends, Ryan. Gosh, man, how dare you be?
It's not my fault you live in Boston. I'm in Georgia.
Yes, it is, Ryan. How dare you kidnap me as a child and move me to Boston? I'm offended at that prospect, and I should have reported you to the police.
Well, Looker, it takes him forever to get to anything.
Yeah, that's true. He's too busy fixing his police reports because he can't write grammatically correct. So, But yeah, oh, you know what actually kind of did a version of that I liked a lot was Sun and Moon with the QR codes, where you could, like, scan people's QR codes, and then, if you do that enough times, then you get access to a Pokemon that's not typically in your region. Like, in that region, I guess is the better way to put it. I thought that was a cool kind of thing to try to put together, like, try to combine fan engagement with something, outside of the game, because that's just always been Pokemon's big thing, is that they want to connect people outside of the games is by making you play together and stuff like that. But even then, that kind of got ruined because people just put online the best QR codes as a Imgur file, and then everybody just like bookmarked that and scanned them every day to get all the points they needed. So, we live in the world where the internet will take the fun out of everything, I guess, is the moral of the story? Question mark?
The idea of connecting people through the multiplayer aspect of the game was nice, but the the event Pokemon never really meshed with that, because most of the time it just meant going and giving this place your business and then getting out once you had the Pokemon you wanted.
Yeah.
More or less. I mean, it's just all online now, so.
Yeah, because even.
Of course, nowadays, if you want a Mew, you just trade you just trade with someone for one, because people have hacked in 1 billion of them.
Oh, well, good luck getting one, even though people have hacked them in. Oh, man, I want this level 7 Lugia, which is literally impossible to get. I hate GTS. I mean...
Yeah, they need to do a better job policing that kind of crap on...
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. If we're talking about specifically Gen 4, Gen 5 era Game Freak, the event Pokemon were ridiculously easy to get without having to go to the specific places they wanted you to go. I forget which specific Pokemon it was, but it was a McDonald's event. So you were supposed to go to a McDonald's and connect to the online specifically there, and then you could download the event Pokemon. If you changed your router name to McDonald's Free Wi-Fi, you could do it at your house.
Really? Oh, that's
Yes.
good.
Yeah, you could also go into your IP settings on your DS and then put the right one there, and it would do it.
So you didn't even have to be there. You just had to have the IP address be listed in there. So
That's amazing. What
Yes.
the hell? Did we just walk into like a cartoon platformer or something?
Yeah,
This is Weasel.
yeah.
Buizel doesn't look like a
it's a-
Pokemon, and I don't know why.
It's a generic water type.
It doesn't look like a Pokemon. It looks like a Crash Bandicoot ripoff. Looks like
see-
something I should see on the thumbnail of a Nitro Rad video.
Okay, so Weasel's kind of a weird case for me because there's nothing like wrong with it. Like it's not doing anything that like specifically offends me or whatever, but I just can't like it for some reason. It's just like I look at it and I have no emotional reaction.
It doesn't
So-
seem to fit in with Pokemon as an art design. I just don't know why. This one looks like a Pokemon, and not
Yeah,
a very good Pokemon.
it's from Gen 2.
It's a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Is it from Gen 2? Gligar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gligar. Gligar's one of the Pokemon that got an evolution in Gen 4.
Oh.
It was a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon that got evolutions. Like Yama got an evolution, Gligar got an evolution.
Togekiss got one.
Yeah, if I remember
Togetic,
correctly, there just
Togetic,
weren't as
sorry.
many Gen 2 Pokemon as there were Gen 1 Pokemon, so some of them
Yeah.
did seem like they could have done more with them.
Yeah, there were 100 Gen 2
I mean,
new Pokemon in Gen 2.
they
and
could have
100.
done more with them, but you have to design 1,000,000 fucking Unowns. So,
Unown still ticks me off because like each one of those takes up about as much data as a normal ass Pokemon. So for a terrible Pokemon and a not particularly fun side quest, took up the space that could have been like another 20 or so extra Pokemon.
And Unown are fucking terrible as
Ye-
Pokemon.
Yeah, like I mean the whole novelty. Like I get the idea of the side quest. You're supposed to be like trying to discover stuff about this ancient civilization and whatever. Okay, neat, whatever. But the only thing about the Pokemon is that you can make a team that spells out fucker or something, you know, and hardy har har. Like as a Pokemon, they can only learn one move. Like if they were gonna ever
And their stats suck.
like if they were gonna do something with it, I think that they could have done something with the gimmick, like have each letter. Oh man, this would be terrible for localization, but like each one can learn attacks that start with the letter that it starts with. You know, like the A Unknown can learn Aerial Ace or whatever or something. You know,
that would be cool, yeah.
Yeah, but that I mean, saying it out loud, they'd never be able to translate that, so it would be awful.
Oops.
But they could have done something interesting with it, but they didn't, and so it wasted so much cartridge space. And I
Yeah.
don't like Unknown.